close reading. We've explored that in the last professional learning day, but I really want you to think about close reading, that it leads students on a cognitive path that begins with establishing the literal meaning of a text and ends with the exploration into a deeper meaning and a plan for what should occur as a result of reading. As we look at that today, I want you to think about this being an experience in your classroom where rich discussion and higher level thinking is allowed through this process. What I'd like for you to do today is to take a look at close reading and about the 4 types of questions that you do to develop a close reading lesson. We have some professional videos for you to watch that came out of the book of Fisher and Fry. And the reason I want you to look at the videos is to look at the rich discussion and the higher order thinking that is going on at the second and third reading of the book. So let's just begin. Let's take a look. So our objectives for today is to revisit how close reading questions are developed, to examine the close reading question design on the last professional learning day. Each group was asked to do group questions, and so we collected those. So you're going to have a plethora of questions to look at and to use. Then the third thing I want you to do is to watch the video examples of close reading and like I said before, to notice the rich discussion and the higher order thinking that is going on within the classroom. And then last, I want you to plan with a close reading lesson. Taking one that was designed during the professional learning days. You don't have to do a new one. And use it in your classroom in the next couple of weeks. So, once again, what is close reading? It's just like we said. Close reading is a process for achieving deep comprehension of challenging text. Not all text are a close read. There are certain type of things that kids could read on their own, and they have the ability to gather meaning from them. So we use a challenging text, one that is rich in vocabulary, one that you know that alone the child may not be able to comprehend and to infer all the rich things that the author has in store for them. But also, our goal in teaching our kids about close reading is to slow them down to do the following things: to understand the ideas within the text, those are the things that are just right there the author has told us about, to appreciate the intentional decisions the author made about the text, author's purpose, about why did the author do this, slowing them down long enough to look at the structure. Why would an author use this organizational structure? And then think beyond the text. That's where we want them to infer, draw conclusions, be able to think about the themes and the messages that the author really wanted the reader to know and understand. So that's the whole purpose of close reading. And how does it fit into the learning platform here in Birdville? Everything about close reading is so tied to the learning platform. It is, as you look at it, it has authentic student tasks and products. When you look at what you're asking kids to do, they're having rich discussion. It is best practice strategies and structures. It's a whole group lesson, but it's using the gradual release of responsibility with children. And then the learning expectations for the kids are extremely high. And so it's very student-centered, really reaching kids at a cognitive level, and then that interactive piece where they are collaborating and arguing over text. Really, you can see where close reading fits really well within the learning platform. So let's take a look at, when you do a close read, there are text-dependent questions, and we want kids to go back into the text looking for evidence. So we've had in Birdville, we introduced close reading with Fountas and Pinnell, the 3 kinds of thinking. But no matter what system you use, whether it's Fountas and Pinnell, Fisher or Fry, or Nancy Bowles, they all are the same thing. They may call them different things, but when you look at them and examine them, they're exactly the same. So Fountas and Pinnell is thinking within the text. That's when they put on those glasses and look for what did the author say. Fisher and Fry says, what does the text say? What are the key details? Nancy Bowles says, what's the author telling me? So you can see as you look across this chart, all this, the researchers may be different, but the level of questioning is the exact same. So let's take a look at the progression of text-dependent questions, because this is so vital in a close reading lesson. When you begin with what does the text say, and that is at the basic level, general understandings. What's the name of the author? What's the setting of the story? Those type of things. The key details that makes that, those are the surface. And as we go up the spectrum, then when we look at that second level of questioning, how does the text work? What kind of vocabulary? Why did the author use the word scabby? And what does that mean? And what's the text structure? Why did the author use that text structure? Why did they use an organizational pattern of maybe an expository to get their message across? Also, author's craft and purpose, huge on STAR, about why does the author use certain maybe onomatopoeia or similes, and what do you think their purpose was for that? So that's the second level of questioning. The third level is, what does the text mean? This is where we get into the deep, higher order thinking of inferencing, and then getting kids to where they voice their opinions and their arguments, but based upon the text evidence of what's in the text. And then the last level of questioning, which we've added this year, is, what does the text inspire you to do? Now that you've learned all the things about this text, what does it inspire you? What can you create? What essay can you write? What play can you write? What video can you produce to show your opinion? So that's the progression. There's a progression of the questions in close reading. So there's 4 types of questions that we're going to focus on. First is that general understanding. So what does the text say? What are the key details? The second level is, how does it work? What are the vocabulary? What's the tone? What's the mood? Those type of things about author's purpose. And then 3, what does it mean? Making those inferences, and there's some examples below that shows you. So that's the third level. And then the fourth level, what does it inspire you? What student task can be created after those level of questioning that kids can then show their learning, show what they know? So today's task is you're going to examine the close reading lessons that were designed by each grade level on your last professional day. You're going to choose a lesson that you would like to try. You can make changes that you need to as you reflect on the text use. You might want to go get that. And you might even want to change some of the questions. Then, on the third thing, is I'd like for you to at least watch one video from the Fisher and Fries text-dependent question book, because it does give you, it shows you the level of collaboration and the level of discussion that needs to happen in a true close reading. And then there's one video from one of our schools, Walker Creek Elementary, where that kindergarten team has produced a video for us to see how they're using close reading. I'm just so appreciative of that team. And then the last thing you're going to do in this task is to give me feedback on the questions you choose. And then one thing you might try in your classroom after watching one of the videos. So let's get going. So click on and let's do this together.